not breathing a thing.
What's her color like?
Well, she's white.
She's white?
Her head's, it's covered in blood.
I didn't know what to do, and I shot my
How the hell would this happen? And I couldn't get it around my head that our son would kill our daughter.
On January 6, 1998, at around 5:10 p.m., Brian and Leslie Jenkins came home from work to find their house dark and empty. Their children were nowhere in sight. As they went down the stairway to the basement, they came upon a chilling scene. Their 18-year-old daughter, Jennifer, lay lifeless in a pool of red gore. While they struggled to come to terms with their loss, they were dealt yet another blow. The murderer was their 20-year-old son, Mason. He insisted that he didn't do it, and they believed him and supported him, even as shocking details about Mason's real intentions began to emerge. This is the story of the brother who killed his 18-year-old sister, and his parents supported him. Jennifer Jenkins lived in Chatham, Ontario, Canada, with her parents, Brian and Leslie, and her older brother, Mason. Brian sold industrial chemicals for a living, while Leslie had been a teacher before switching to become a mental health care worker. Jennifer was 2 years younger than Mason, and she was described as a good child who always followed the rules and had ambitious dreams for her future, while Mason was described as the troublemaker.
And Mason was very mischievous. He was always getting into trouble. He would climb out of windows and climb up trees, and he was very adventuresome. And where Jennifer was, she didn't get into trouble like that.
From the age of 12, Mason had been in and out of institutions for petty theft charges. He would also steal cars in the neighborhood and take them for a joyride, but then bring them back later in the evening. His parents found this behavior really concerning, but they tried to be there for him and did everything to make him feel loved and supported. Now, despite the difference in their characters and personalities, Jennifer and Mason had a truly good relationship as siblings and really cared for and respected each other, which is why what happened on January 6, 1998 was so shocking.
Okay, you're absolutely sure she's not breathing?
She's not breathing a thing.
What's her color like?
Well, she's white.
She's white?
Her head's, it's covered in blood sort of thing, and there's no life here at all.
There isn't. All right, is she on her back?
She's on her back now, yes.
Okay, then. What I want you to do is I want you to just gently tilt her head back, put one hand on her forehead.
Tilt her head back, sir, yes.
Okay.
Well, she's kind of cockeyed here.
She is.
Oh, my God, Jennifer. Oh, honey. Oh.
On top of grieving the loss of their daughter, Brian and Leslie were also concerned about Mason's safety, and they were worried that he might also suffer the same fate as his sister. Investigators also thought that Mason could be somewhere in the bush, injured, or even dead, but as it would turn out, that was far from the case. An investigation was immediately launched, with the police interviewing both parents, trying to get as much information as they could. And I've got to warn you guys, Brian's interview is really heartbreaking to watch.
There was blood. Like, her corduroy jacket was soaked. I tried to stop, but she was dead. Oh, I'm sorry, Brian. So am I. So am I. What the hell? You have a family and then you don't have a family, so what? What the hell? We haven't done nothing. We don't deserve this.
Mason showed up a few hours later and seemed completely devastated about his sister's death. During his interrogation, he broke down into tears and blamed himself for everything that happened to Jennifer.
There's no way that should ever happen. It was because of me. don't feel like I want to go on. That's my little sister.
Mason went on to give investigators his version of what happened that evening when his little sister was killed. According to Mason, a white van pulled up in his driveway and 4 masked men came out. 2 of them had weapons. Apparently, these men kidnapped him, but before they left, one went back to the house and allegedly killed his sister.
2 of the people were carrying guns on them, I don't know what kind. When they came to the front door, I fired my gun. I didn't hit them. They came upstairs, and when you have 2 guns pointed at you and nothing left, they took my gun.
As to the reason why some strange men would want to kidnap him or kill his sister, Mason claimed that he owed some money to some really bad people, and they wanted revenge. At the time, investigators had no reason to doubt Mason's story. But there was something about it that just did not add up. Like, if he was kidnapped as he claimed, why didn't he have any bruises or injuries on him? Also, no one else in the area had seen the so-called white van that had allegedly pulled up at his home. But the most damning thing of all was the will. Apparently, Mason had forged his parents' will to make himself the sole beneficiary. That's clearly a motive. Mason, of course, tried to come up with some explanation for all this, but the police did not buy it.
Motive to lie. I can see that, yes. Did you hate her that much? No, I didn't hate my sister. Why would I hate my sister? She bent over backwards for me. She cares more than, ever than anybody. Huh? She had more faith in me than sometimes my parents did. Yep. I got no reason to hate her. I got no reason to blow her head off. I have no reason, whatsoever to do anything like that.
When the police told Mason's parents about their suspicion, Brian and Leslie were shocked and horrified. But they could not believe that their son was capable of doing such a horrible thing to his sister. They defended him fiercely, saying that Mason was not a violent person and that he could never hurt his sister because he loved her. Still, based on the evidence at the crime scene, police believed Mason was responsible for his sister's death. And not only that, but that he intended to kill his entire family. He had allegedly used a single-shot rifle and repeatedly fired it at Jennifer as she was watching TV and eating popcorn in the living room. He hit her 5 times, twice in the chest and 3 times in the head. He then dragged her lifeless body into the basement and left her there, covered in a blanket. At around 4:45 p.m., he called his mom to find out what time she was coming home. Normally, Leslie would have arrived home alone, but this time she was picking Brian up from work because he was having his car fixed. Investigators believed that Mason changed his plans when he learned that his parents would be coming home together, because there was no way he could kill both of them at once using a single-shot rifle.
One of the possibilities is that either mom and dad, or just mom, was also a target. Because the not that trying to sound cold or callous or insensitive. Jennifer is on that carpet for one reason and one reason only, and that is to keep her from being seen by the person that comes in that door.
Despite all the evidence pointing to their son's guilt, Leslie and Brian chose to believe Mason's story that he was innocent. They stood by him even as the entire town shunned them. When Mason was found guilty of murder, his parents fought for his appeal and remained devoted to him. Then, in 2007, after years of unsuccessful appeals, Mason said that he had some new information about the case that he would like to reveal. He confessed that he had been lying all along and that he was actually the killer. He claimed that it was an accident and told an entirely different story of how everything happened.
Basically what happened was I came down the stairs. I had the rifle at the coat rack. I put the rifle on top of the coat rack. I hit the rifle and the rifle went forward. When I grabbed the weapon went off. And that's the initial shot. So after that, there was a series of, I checked for a pulse. There was no pulse. She wasn't breathing.
After believing their son's innocence for so long, Brian and Leslie were completely broken and devastated by this information. The documentary Life with Murder by Canadian filmmaker John Kastner features extensive interviews with Mason and his parents as they talked about the psychological trauma that the crime had on their lives.
How the hell would this happen? And I couldn't get it around my head that our son would kill our daughter. So I was on denial until it was proven in my head that in fact he did pull the trigger and he did kill in the form of an accident.
But as much as they wanted to believe that it was all an accident, the facts in the case did not add up. Like, how did Jennifer end up getting shot accidentally 5 times by a single shot rifle? Why didn't he call 911? And why did he move her body into the basement? In the documentary, Mason admitted that his real intention was to actually kill his parents, the same parents that had been standing by his side all this time. He wanted to kill them for money, and that's why he got a gun and changed their will.
In my mind, and it's hard for me to talk about it now because in my mind, I thought about, and I hate to admit, but I did think about killing my parents. That was a thought.
You thought about actually?
Yeah.
Really?
And it was something in my head that seemed like it was the only alternative for money at the time.
Mason claimed that he changed his mind after spending some time with his dad that day, and that he was taking the rifle to the garage when it went off and killed his sister accidentally. He admitted that his sister did not die after the first shot and claimed that he panicked and fired 4 more shots at her to stop her pain.
The gun was loaded beside the back door, and that's when the accident happened. And when that happened, I panicked. I didn't know what to do, and I shot my I go over in my head and it's like, I don't know, I could have phoned 911, but I shot my sister in the head it was by accident. The first shot was by accident.
While this version of the story does help to clear up some gaps in the case, investigators still believe that it is not entirely true. They believe that Mason intentionally killed his sister and was planning to kill his parents, but his plans got ruined when they came home together. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. As you can imagine, Brian and Leslie were completely crushed to learn that the son they had supported all along could be so evil and cold-hearted. In the documentary, Brian looks so sick and frail, and you can actually feel the pain in his voice every time he speaks. He eventually died in 2016, probably from a broken heart.
Have any idea why he intended to kill you?
No. No. I haven't got a clue. I would come out and say, what was in your head? Why on earth you would, number one, you killed your sister and your intention was to kill us too. Why? Why did you have that on your mind?
We were always there for him. Anytime he ran away or he always came home. It was always returning home. So to destroy the one thing that was closest to him, we have no idea why.
What do you think about this case? Do you believe Mason's story that it was an accident? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and if you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more.